So this is a great resource for you. It's called the cybertipline.org, or you can call the phone number. It's just easier to go online. This is through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I get a lot of my tips from these guys. I usually get 1 or 2 every couple of months. They will take, so if you've got, obviously if you know it's an adult and they're trying to solicit your kid, just call 911, we can get involved, we'll do something right now. If it's something else, if it's just, like a creepy Facebook page that you think could be fake, or it's a teen who's been hitting your kid up for images, but again, you don't think it's a teen, even if it is, you can report it. If they're sending stuff, obscene content to your child, if they're speaking in a sexual manner, or if it's anybody trying to meet your kid in person, again, being an adult or a teen, you're just not sure about it. You can report it to Cyber Tip Line. They'll do some work on their end, figure out, all they're going to want to know generally is what platform was it on, was it Facebook, Kik, Instagram, what was the person's screen name, and then if you still have the chat conversation, they'll ask for that. They'll do some analysis on their end, try to figure out where this person is based on their IP address, and then they send it out to local law enforcement. Like I said, I get a couple of these a month. Sometimes they turn into a great case. Sometimes we can hit them up through an undercover investigation. Sometimes it's somebody we've already been looking at. We just didn't have enough to get in the house, and now we've got enough to go get them. Or sometimes if we have nothing else, we can't prove anything illegal has actually happened, we'll still just go knock on the door and say, hey, look, creepy guy, here's all the stuff that we know you've been doing. It's getting reported. I'm watching you now. The feds are watching you now, and at least we're making it known. And then we will keep an eye on what they're up to going forward. So this is another resource I give to the kids, especially if it's just something they see that makes them uncomfortable. I encourage them to report it. It takes just a couple minutes. You can remain anonymous, and then we can get involved. And again, hopefully prevent something from happening to somebody else. So we're going to finish up here talking about cyberbullying, which is no different than the bullying that's been going on since the dawn of time. It's just now with that online component. It includes everything up there. What we mostly see is just generally the mean texts or mean comments on social media. We do see some fake profiles or the photoshopping of pictures to make them embarrassing. Spreading the rumors and gossip we see a lot of. And then the threatening, harassing comments. So the difference is with this online component is it's obviously spreading a lot faster once it's on like Facebook. Everybody sees it. And these kids get notifications. There's a study too, there's a thing at the end talking about Being 13 by Anderson Cooper. It was a documentary he did. There's a link here at the end you can look at. They partnered up with some researchers who agreed to let their 13-year-olds have all of their social media stuff intercepted by an intermediary server on its way to Facebook or wherever. And they figured out how much kids are looking at this stuff. And I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 110 times or something on average of the kids looking at their phone a day. So again, if they're being bullied, that's 110 times a day that's coming back to them. It's not just the one time they see the kid in the hall. It's all day, all night, at home, at sports, on the weekends, whatever. So suicide among cyberbullying victims is rare, but unfortunately it does happen. We actually, unfortunately, have a new relatively new cyberbullying law in Colorado that's named after a girl named Kiana Arianos. She was a 16-year-old cheerleader in Castle Rock who was being bullied online to the point where she tried to take her own life by hanging herself. Family or friend or somebody found her before she had passed away, but just blood loss to the brain and everything. She's pretty severely disabled and is in a wheelchair now for the rest of her life. At the time, we didn't have. At the time, the only way we could charge harassment is if it was direct. So if I'm just posting about you on my Facebook page, it's freedom of speech. Nothing you can do about it, even if it's rude, mean, harassing. Obviously, to the point that she was suicidal. So the family was upset. They worked with the state legislators, and we now have a new law. They just amended our harassment law to include indirect contact by digital means, so social media, texting, whatever. It's a class 3 misdemeanor. It's not the end of the world if somebody does get charged with this. It's the lowest level misdemeanor. It's like basically a step up from a traffic offense. But it is a criminal charge, and for kids, it's not something like you just pay a fine and go about your day. It's something you go in front of the judge, you film, everybody's going to be involved. So we talk about our kids with this as well. This is the Amanda Todd video. I try to show this in the schools depending on how much time I have. Has anybody seen this? A few people have. Mostly kids have seen it. So Amanda was I think she was 12 or 13 when it started. Year-old teen up in Canada. She was on a web chat one day and playing like Truth or Dare. Got talked into flashing the camera, so she did. Nothing came of it for about a year, and then somebody created a Facebook page, and her breasts were the profile picture. She started being harassed both in school and online. It got to the point where she actually moved schools to try to get away from it, moved cities. Continued there. She posted this video after a series of suicide attempts, just kind of as a cry for help, and then just within a couple weeks of posting this, she did take her own life. I think she was over 14. So we show this. A lot of the kids have already seen this in the schools. Depending on time, I try to show it when I can, but it's pretty powerful just because it kind of brings everything together that I talk about. I mean, it involves a little bit of sextortion, sexting, then online behavior, and then it ended in kind of the ultimate bad ending that we could have. So when we have cyberbullying going on, there's actually 3 different groups you have involved here. You have your cyberbully, or sometimes it's a group. You have your victims, or sometimes it's a group, and then you have all your bystanders, and that's potentially, everybody's kids in here who knows what's going on, they've heard about it, they see it, and they're just not doing anything about it. So that's something else we talk to the kids about. Don't be that bystander, don't be inactive. If you see something going on, stick up for the victim, maybe not in a public setting where you become a victim of bullying, but let them know that they have support, and then maybe report it as well. Kids have a real hard time sometimes, this whole new thing about being the snitch and getting in trouble or getting friends in trouble. But what I tell them is, the alternative is don't report it. Potentially it does get to the point where somebody's suicidal, they take their own life, and you potentially have that ability to step in and do something. So we encourage parents as well to talk to their kids about being a bystander. They know what's going on. They see it. They need to have that courage to step up and start doing something about it. So if you have a child who's a victim of this, they could stop using the computer or cell phone. That should be a good sign that something's up. Could be nervous when communicating, maybe uneasy about going to school. And again, you could see that withdrawal, especially if they're starting to get depressed. So some ways to help, consider saving the evidence. The schools deal with this a lot more than law enforcement does. We get involved when it's pretty extreme, and at least we have a criminal charge we can use now, but for the most part, this is happening in the schools, or it's carrying over into the schools. The schools can deal with it, but again, it helps for them to have evidence too, so they can see what's going on and address it appropriately. And then if we get involved, obviously I'm going to need the evidence. Just hearing about it's not going to be good enough. I want to see the text, I want to see the Facebook, whatever it is. You can always block the cyberbullies. You can set up new accounts and just be kind of mindful of who gets friendly to those accounts. Again, talk to the school, and then report it. If the school can't do anything about it, or it's happening outside where they don't have jurisdiction, then report it to law enforcement. We'll step in and do something. So on the flip side, if you have, unfortunately, a student who's engaging on the bullying side of it, again, if they're quickly, switching screens, closest programs, again, could be anything. They're using the computers at odd hours. They're getting usually upset when they can't use it. They laugh excessively while online. They can use YouTube. They avoid discussions about what they're doing, or again, the multiple online accounts, and that not necessarily just a sign of cyberbullying. It's generally a sign that they're doing something they don't want mom and dad to know about. So ways to prevent it from the bullying aspect. Again, establish your expectations, just like kids know that they. When I talk to the bullies who are doing this stuff, lots of times I hear that they think it's online and that they can just do it. It's online, it's a joke, it doesn't matter, it's not real life. As integrated as we are, especially our kids who grew up with this, I didn't have social media growing up, I didn't have the internet until I got into the Army. We didn't deal with this stuff, so we don't know how integrated they are, and I try to stress to these kids that your online life is really your real life anymore. It's so integrated, you can't really separate one from the other. Set consequences if you do find out that it's going on. And model good online behavior. Again, cyberbullying applies to adults, almost more so than it does to kids. A lot of the news sites, like I remember when I first moved here in 2010, the Post Independent, you could go on there and just post anonymously comments. And some of the stuff I saw on there was horrendous. It still is the case on most anonymous posting sites. Now you have to have a Facebook account, and so it's kind of could potentially come back to you. And I see people being a little bit more moderated in their words. But adults are just as bad, and it doesn't do you any good to tell your kid to be respectful, and then go online and write a bunch of disrespectful or hateful speech yourself, because they're just picking up on that. And again, I think the biggest thing, the odds of your kid being the bully or the victim are thankfully pretty low, but the odds of them being a bystander are almost 100%. When I ask kids if this is going on in school, everybody raises their hand. Yeah, I've seen it, or it has been, or it is. So they know what's happening. So again, establish those expectations for reporting. They don't have to go, be tattletale. That every time they see something uncomfortable, they go run and tell the teacher. But if it's to the point where kids are getting depressed, or it's, where hateful, threatening speech is being used, then yeah, the school needs to know, parents need to know, potentially law enforcement needs to know. Encourage them to stand up for the victim. Again, we recommend just doing that privately. And then help them report it to, if it's got to be the school or if it's got to be us here in law enforcement. So some tech options out there. We don't recommend anything specific, and this stuff changes on about a day-to-day basis, so I don't try to keep up on it anymore because it changes so often. But there is filtering and monitoring software out there for phones, tablets, just like there are for your computer. I like iPhone. I'm more familiar with it just because that's what I have. I'm sure it's the same on some level for Android, but if you have your family iCloud account, it gives you a little bit of control over what's going on. And I know some parents, like my partner who used to do ICAT cases over in Eagle County, who works for us now at the DA's office, he, when he first got his daughter a phone, obviously knowing everything that goes on there, he actually had it set up with the same Apple ID, so he was seeing every message she got or received, at least iMessage. So he could kind of monitor that for a little while until she would, he felt comfortable with her being responsible enough to have it on her own, and then he took that away, or took himself off of there to give her some privacy. But something to think about just to kind of ease into that, so you have some sort of control. You can contact your cell phone providers, Verizon, AT&T. They oftentimes have options for you. Again, Google's your friend on most of the stuff. If you need to know parental controls on a Dell, just Google it. You'll get a whole bunch of stuff you can look at. Look at the individual apps. That's why I include all the app pictures at the beginning of this. I don't do that with the teens. They obviously know what's out there. I do this for the adults because there's a lot of stuff we just don't know about. We're not looking at this stuff every day. We don't use these apps. So go through there from time to time. If you see a goofy picture and you're not sure what it is, just ask. See what it is. And explore your built-in security features. A lot of your phones and stuff, like Kindle, I know, they have, I think it's called Kid Zone. You have to pay for it. It's like 99 cents a month. And it's only kid-friendly stuff. He can't use it to talk to anybody. All he can do basically is games. You can set the times that they can be online or using the device. There's a lot of controls out there. So just, again, Google it if you're not sure. But technology is not going to catch everything, so we encourage that communication, just like everything else. If your kids hopefully feel comfortable coming to you when this stuff's going on, you're going to know about it before it becomes a huge issue. Or you'll be able to catch it if you're hearing some things that kind of make you uncomfortable. So this is that netsmarts.org. It's the same one I talked about at the beginning. As you can see, they have parents, educators, law enforcement. That's where I get this presentation. We work with them through ICAT. Teens, tweens, there's a kids version on there for little kids with games and stuff they can play online. This is a shot from the kids one, some of the options on there. This is the NS Teens. It's some of the videos, all the videos we watch on here are on there as well, so the couple I skipped over, if you wanted to check them out, you can. I don't know, some of it's kind of hokey, especially for teens, but there's stuff on there if they want to check it out. This is that Anderson Cooper special. Again, this is television, so it's all hyped up, but it's called Being 13. This is where they intercepted all that social media data from these kids. And what they did as well is they did some video diaries with the kids as the months went on while they were doing this. And then at the end, I think it's the best part, is the end when they bring the parents and the kids in together and talk to the parents about, what do your kids do online? And they say, all this great stuff, school, and nothing bad. And then they start showing them, okay, here's your kid throwing gang signs. Here he is with his marijuana pictures. Here's this, here's that. And the parents just didn't know. They were floored. Again, it's television, so you're only seeing the worst of the worst. That's not necessarily what's common out there, but there's a lot of good statistics. It's where I think it's 110 times the kids are checking their phone, how many hours a day they're online, how many hours are on social media, all that's on there. Common Sense Media, this is another good resource outside of NetSmarts. They have a lot of recommendations for what's age appropriate, and that's everything. It's television, movies, apps. So again, if you have a new app like Musical.ly, something replaces that, that's cool, that comes out, these guys will take a look at it, they'll kind of do a review of it, of what it is, and then they'll put a recommendation for what ages they think are appropriate. Again, use your best judgment. Send this instead. I showed this to the kids. This is kind of cool. It's a Canadian cop who does internet crimes up there, and apparently he's an app developer on the side, created this. He just came up with a bunch of funny pictures. They have the same problem in Canada that we have here. They were figuring out that this Just Say No, it's just like the Just Say No to drugs, that didn't work. Just Say No to sexting is not working, it's still going on. So he created this. It's just some funny stuff. So if your kid's in a situation where they don't want to do it and they're just trying to break up that awkward. Some of these are hard to read. That's my favorite. It says, I can't send you nude photos, but I'll forward this to my dad and you can try asking him for some. He's got like a couple hundred on there, and if your kid comes up with something, they can forward it. If he likes it, they'll throw it up on the website. It's available on both iOS and Android. This is something else.
What was that app? Is it a website?
Census
Instead.
Yeah. This is another reference we put in for the teens anyway. It's called thethinline.org. It's from MTV. Despite what they show on their programming, which is, I think, pretty atrocious anymore, they are taking a pretty strong stance against cyberbullying and against what they call inappropriate sexting, which is obviously when adults are involved, or sextortion. There's a lot of case studies, kids who've been involved either as a bully or as a victim, or been the victim of sextortion. Kind of testimonials and stuff on there. So again, we encourage kids, if you're in a situation, you're not sure what you want to do, you can go on there, you can see what other kids went through. They only put generally good stuff on there. MTV moderates it to keep anything off there inappropriate. So it's not a bad website for kids just to see what other kids are going through if they feel like maybe they're not sure what they want to do. So that's it. I am available for questions as long as you guys want to stay. I did bring a stack of my business cards. If anybody wanted to take that with, I'm here for questions going forward too. Unfortunately, I've done these presentations and then I've had some cases come out of it too, where people either didn't realize what was going on was actually illegal, or a lot of times we've had sexting cases where parents were afraid their kids were going to get in trouble, and then they found out they're not, and we get involved. So if something comes up, obviously report it to your local law enforcement if it's an emergency. But if you have questions or something, feel free to reach out. I'll get a copy of this presentation as well as the handouts that I have available. That'll go out through a link through the school. I used to print them out, but then half the people didn't take them, and some of them that did, it just ends up in the trash, and then I got in trouble for burning our ink up. So I try to do it all digitally now. So yeah, I'm open for questions.